in Brachot, in Yaakov, Sech the Brachot 62a2, and so the Gemara recounts the benefits that accrue to one who behaves modestly while in the latrine. It says Amrav Tanchum Bar the Chanilai. Sorry?
Haven't we done this?
You did that?
Saved from scorpions and demons. And the people who went to
Oh, you guys didn't turn the page on me? Okay.
No.
Uh,
on 61 A2. 62A1. And you on 62A2.
right.
So, but I think we're on 6. We're past that even.
We're past you?
Yeah, because we did the thing where it was like the really bad bathroom where they would attack even people in pairs during the daylight. And so the people went in, but because of the mayor of democracy, not the bathrooms, they weren't harmed.
Okay.
So I think we left off at
go ahead, tell me.
I think it's the very last paragraph. The Gemara relates in half.
Okay, fine. I'll go with that. So the Gemara relates how Abaye's nursemaid protect him from demons in latrines. So Abaye, Miravia le ime imra le me'al bahade le beiki say Abaye's mother raised a sheep to follow him into the latrine so that he would not be alone there. And Abaye's mother, as he explains, died while giving birth to him. Whenever the Gemara refers to his mother, it's actually referring to the nursemaid who raised him. Which, by the way, is an interesting concept. And we see this also with Batya, the Egyptian mother of Pharaoh, of Moshe. It's not who gives you birth who is considered mommy, but rather the one who brings you up. So this is a big shout out to all the people who adopt kids, and or are foster parents for the most part, who bring these kids up. It's not just because genealogically you are somebody else's child. It doesn't mean that person that is bringing you up does not deserve the respect of being a mother or father. And that's what we're seeing here throughout the entire Gemara, when it always says Ime Derabe, and again she was a nursemaid, she wasn't the mother. The mother died. But this is something that we, so again, for all those people who like to trace and find out who their real parents are, and so on and so forth, I guess there's some merit to that, I don't know. But the bottom line is that, and I think all these people who are searching for their birth parents have the same feeling. I just want to meet the person who abandoned me more than I want to give you up as my parents. Because I love you. You brought me up. You gave me a home. So you are my parents in reality, but I want to know what these people were thinking when they abandoned me at birth. I mean, I think that's where it's coming from, the curiosity more than anything else. But again, thank God I wasn't adopted, so I don't know what the real feeling is. But it seems to be what it is. So anyway, she trained the sheep to follow him everywhere, even to the latrine. And as noted above, demons will generally strike only if a person is alone. Even the companionship of a mere animal will provide some measure of protection against them. So apparently the demons won't even come out. So if you have a dog that you would train to go with you, or does go with you in those days into those latrines, you would not have a problem. But that is apparently what she did in order to protect him. Well, the Rabia legate, but let her have raised a goat. Why'd she choose a sheep? Okay, so se'ir v'sa'ir mechalaf. Okay, here you go. A goat could be interchanged with a goat-like demon, and would not afford protection. We're going by names, by Hebrew names. Se'ir is a goat. Se'ir is also the name of a demon, so they could be interchanged. Okay, say it again.
Are there kinds of demons? Or is Se'ir the name of
Se'ir is the name of a demon, so they could be changed. A goat-like demon, right? Right. So he says a demon of the latrine is similar in appearance to a goat. It is in this sort of demon that is mentioned in the verse in Isaiah, which states regarding the destruction that would be visited upon Babylonia, Usi'irim Yirak Dusham, the goat demons will dance there. And so Abaya's nursemaid feared that because of the similarity between goats and these demons, the companionship of the goat would be insufficient to frighten one off, so she therefore trained a sheep. Okay. The Gemara relates the manner in which Rava's wife would protect him while he defecated. So Rava, Mikami Dahave Reisha, Mikark Ishale, but Rav Chista, Amaguza Balakna. So before Rava was the head of the academy, his wife, the daughter of Rav Chista, would rattle a walnut in a copper receptacle for him to protect him from demons and the snakes while he defecated. Basically, she had a rattle. Okay. Yeah.
How the point was not to disturb the animals.
The demons?
But there's the demons, and it also mentions the snakes and the scorpions and stuff. So if you go in there, right, you won't mess with the.
They don't get angry. But if you start ringing a bell, they're already
right. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you go in there and start making a bunch of noise, it doesn't matter how modern you are, you're still agitating the animal.
Okay, so here, let's see what he says here. I hear what he's saying. It's a good point. She would remain within the house and shake this rattle, and he would defecate outside the house near the place where she was shaking it. The reason she remained indoors, by the way, was because it would have been immodest for her to accompany him, notwithstanding the fact that she was his wife. The Maharsha explains that this noise drove away both snakes and demons. So there you go. The noise would drive those things away. So as compared to, I guess, groaning. What? It says snakes. Scorpions too, I'm guessing. Whatever the animals are going to be, it's going to scare them away. Probably because, by the way, they're hearing a rattle. So it sounds like a snake. A rattlesnake. So it could be that sort of sound that they're hearing. In the old days, going back.
I'm pretty sure rattlesnakes are native to America.
What?
Rattlesnakes are native
Okay, so apparently what she did, whatever she did, scared them away. But in the old days, maybe about in the 80s, I guess, you may remember the commercial. People were concerned about mice in their house, or any type of animal. So they sold this box that had a shrill sound, but it was supposed to be so shrill that we couldn't hear it, but only the animals could. So when the animal would come near it, it would go away, okay? So I remember my parents bought that little machine. If you would press the button, it would be a horrible sound. And so what happened was I saw an ant, and I put it right there to see what would happen. You're like, leave me alone. I don't think it did anything, personally. I don't think it did anything. It was supposed to scare everything away. So I don't think they heard it, they felt it, I don't know. But he didn't, I think he was actually crawling towards it, actually. So, I never saw it. I think I didn't see the mice, but it would be interesting if you had that box and you put in with the mice, would they run away or not? But that would be the sort of thing. So apparently there's some noises that would scare the things, and she discovered that. Now it could be, that again, that's when, I hear what you're saying. It says that you should be quiet so they don't get rattled. Apparently this, rather than the other way, they would run away. I don't know. As compared to talking or something.
Also, was it Baez? He had a lamb, right?
The sheep.
He's the one with the sheep, right? So was his fleece white as snow?
Okay, right there. There you go. Then it says, Batra de Malach, after he was appointed the head of the academy, the danger from demons increased. Why? Because he explains demons have a greater envy of Torah scholars than other people, and therefore a greater wish to harm them. Consequently, Rava required increased protection upon being appointed head of the academy. So what happened? Avdale kavta umancha le yada aresha. She fashioned a window for him between the house and the place he defecated, and she would place her hand upon his head as he relieved himself. It was thus as though he were not alone as a result of that. Okay, so it's
Why don't you get a lamb or a sheep?
what?
Why don't you get a sheep or something?
You're asking a shaila. You can't ask a question. There's a famous thing. You can't ask a shaila on the Maisa. You can't ask a question on something that happened. Why didn't she do what Abaya's mother did or nursemaid did? I don't know. But it's that's what she did. Again, she just has to make sure that there's more than one person, more than one person there. It's what?
More than one entity beside the demons.
Right. And so that apparently, if I put my hand in there, so then and touch his head, the associative property would make the demon afraid. When you get into the world of the demons, you're getting into a whole who knows. Which is why most people just fly over this stuff. Okay. So Amar Ula said, Achore hagader nifne miyad. One behind a wall may defecate right there, even in close proximity to other. Modesty does not require him to distance himself from others. Uvavika kolzman shemet atesh ve'en chaver shemeha. And one may defecate in an open area as long as one cannot hear him if he passes wind. However, he's not required to move so far away that he cannot be seen. Okay. But if he can be heard, he must distance himself until he's out of earshot. Okay. So then you have a dissenting opinion to this. Isi bar Natan matniachai. That Isi bar Natan taught this law in the following manner. Acharei hagadir kol zman shemitatesh ve'en chavero shemea. One behind a wall may defecate there as so long as his friend cannot hear him if he passes wind. Uvavika calls the manche and chaver ro'ehu, and one may defecate in an open area as long as his friend cannot see him. In other words, that's all modesty. We get into the world of modesty here. Okay. So, Meitave, they challenge him on the basis of the following Mishnah. By the way, this is defecation. We're not talking about urination, because urination we said the walls, right? Because when it comes to defecate, when it comes to urination, thank God now we are beginning. Although no, I just went to when I was at Notre Dame, this is still the same thing. In the men's room, they do not have separate stalls for the urinals. It's only when we get into the Jewish world, that we start to see that. Rest stops also, you're right, and rest stops also. Yeah, thank God. They're also starting that. But it's if you go to places like Walmart or the other places, they don't separate for the most part. It's just you're standing right next to the person. Yeah. As compared to the women's bathrooms, they're all separate stalls. Yeah. If you come, there's no open toilets for you to defecate without a wall. So that's something that apparently has always been a very private thing. We were never trained to do. Maybe you go to the armed forces. I heard there.
I remember boot camp.
Right. I heard the armed forces that they train you.
Once you got past boot camp, I think the barracks were a little bit nicer.
Right. So
I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. I remember that because there was a science teacher who was working in the school, and he was in the bathroom. He was moving his bowels, and there were no doors in
the school.
Yeah, because what happened was the kids were smoking, and they ripped the doors off. The kids were damaging, and on top of that they were smoking, and it was illegal to smoke. It was illegal in those days to smoke. I think it's still illegal.
In the building, anyway. Even now, in the building.
Yeah, no.
In our high school, they let you smoke during lunch. They had a courtyard.
Right.
Go outside.
Right. So but it was illegal to smoke in the building. Yeah. So they used to go into the bathrooms, and they used to go behind the stall, shut the stall, and smoke because they were so addicted. And then somebody ripped the doors off, or the administration ripped the doors off, whatever the case was.
So they could be seen that way.
Right. So and they couldn't smoke, but as a result, you have no privacy. So they said here's the science teacher. He, for some reason, he was not in the teacher's lounge doing it. I don't know, but he was there, and so he brought this up in class. He said, "I went to the army. In the army, we never had doors. You get used to anything." Yeah, so it was interesting that what it shows you is in the armed forces boot camp anyway.
Yeah.
They take away your modesty.
Yeah.
For whatever reasons.
They want to belittle you. You want to get
right.
you in line. And the more they can embarrass you and belittle you. So that's
but normally, when it comes to defecation, it's a very modest thing. We don't want anybody there, and we don't even like when people are in the same room, so on and so forth. We just want to be left alone. Yeah. When it comes to urination, again, it's only for males, so then we're trained to go wherever you're going to go. But here we're dealing with this. So here, think about this: is you're passing gas. You don't want anybody to hear it. That's how private this is.
Yeah.
Again, I think people still feel that way today. I don't think we've really moved that far away from this. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. I don't know when that changes, we're done. We're done as a society.
Right.
Anyway, so it says, they challenge him on the basis of the following Mishnah. It says in Taharot, Yotzin mipetach beit Habad, v'nifnen la'acharei hagader v'hein taharim. Those people who guard the olive pressings from being contaminated, may go out of the doorway of the pressing house, defecate right there behind the wall, and the olives will remain uncontaminated, since we do not suspect that in that short span of time and Am Haaretz entered and contaminated them. We see that so long as one is behind a wall, he may defecate even if he is in proximity to others. He need not distance himself at all. So, because we brought something up here about the Am Haaretz, so the art school has to go on. This normally would not be talked about, but the art school felt, no, we've said a term, we have to now identify who was the Am Haaretz and what's going on here. She says the Mishnah discusses how... Yeah, basically. The Mishnah discusses how those who are careful to eat their food in a state of tahara, the Perushim, we can protect the olive squeezings from being contaminated through the contact of Am Haaretz, the ignorant people, who because of their carelessness regarding the laws of Tumah and Tahara, are considered to be in a constant state of Tumah. The Mishnah deals with a case in which the guarding the olives needs to defecate, and the rules. If he does so right outside the pressing house, the olives will remain tahor, even though they remained unguarded during the time of his defecation. For since he does not distance himself, he is absent for no more than a moment, and we do not fear that one will enter and contaminate the olives in so short a time. We can infer from this ruling that the laws of modesty permit one to defecate even in close proximity to others, so long as he does so behind a wall. Now, by the way, just to really push this envelope on the Am Haaretz, the Am Haaretz we would all be Am Haaretz today. Okay? Because we don't worry about Tumah and Tahara. So, and we don't know the laws of Tumah and Tahara. So we're not concerned. It's so today we would all be in the category of the Am Haaretz of the Talmudic times. The other thing is that the division between the Perushim and the Am Haaretz is basically the division that we have today of kosher to glatt kosher. If somebody is glatt kosher, really glatt kosher, by the way, not you glatt kosher, but real glatt kosher, so then they cannot eat in my house. They can't, because I'm only you glatt. And for that, somebody who's not even OU glad, who has triangle K, who doesn't claim to be glad at all. So the person who is OU glad cannot eat in the house of a triangle K person. I'm picking on all these different companies. I'm not saying that nobody's kosher. I'm saying that each one has their level. Okay, so if I'm holding by glatt, I can't eat even OU glad. I can't eat the other meat because I don't consider that to my standard of kosher. Not saying it's not kosher. I said I can't eat, I'm not at that standard. I'm at a higher standard. So even his vessels become potentially not kosher to me. I can't use his vessels. He could use mine, because what's he doing? He's just trafing mine up. But I'm not trafe for him, right? You understand what I'm saying? In other words, the guy who's the Perushi here, who is holding at the level of tahor and tameh. So if the Amaretz would come in to you and to knead in his stuff, the breads and bake in his oven, no problem, because what's the big problem for the Amaretz? He's normally eating that stuff, right? But the Perushi can no longer eat it because it was made in the other way. So you understand what I'm saying? So while the non-glut guy can come and eat in my house or cook in my utensils, his food and eat it, because I'm better, quote unquote, better than his kashrut level, right? But I, as a result, cannot use the vessels he used before I kasher them and everything else, and I certainly can't eat his food.
So, I remember, I think a lot of this started, I remember when our 2 years in Sharon, 88 to 90, it's when we first started hearing about glut, and I think a letter came out from the day school, high school, day school I guess was at the time, that said many families in the community keep glut, and so when you invite somebody over, in other words, what was called non-glut back then was very common.
Right,
100%. You
100%.
should get the glut, and so they had. Apparently, you were talking about. That's not the glut that you're referring to of times past.
No, what I'm saying is this is different even.
Yeah.
This is, I'm eating, I'm just comparing the two.
Yeah.
To say their division that they had kashrut-wise would be comparable to what we have today of glut and non-glut. That's all. What they were dealing with was things that's either spiritually tameh or tahor. Okay, so I have to in order to remain tahor, I have to separate myself from a lot of things, and therefore I cannot eat at the people's homes who are not holding that level. By the way, that would be the terminology was the people who were keeping this level of tahor were called chaver, friend. That the word we use for friend. That was what they would call chaverim, and the other one we call amir arts. So now, by the way, when you look at Pirkei Avot, and it says knei lecha chaver, acquire for yourself a friend. It doesn't just mean a friend. Talmud you want to go to that level. Knei lecha, acquire for yourself. It costs money. So acquire for yourself a chaver.
Today, what we're calling glut and non-glut, for the most part, is we don't even see the non-glut anymore.
You can see it. You go to Martin's. I'll give
Where?
I don't know if Martin's has it anymore, but Martin's used to carry the triangle K, which is non-glut. You can find Hebrew Nationals non-glut.
I thought many people don't hold by that for other reasons.
Okay, I'm not gonna. That's a different thing. Yeah. But by the way, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it publicly.
Today's glut is not really.
No, today's glut is not really glut, unless you get Beit Yosef glut. And even there, I don't know. But it's when it comes to Triangle Care, any one of the other non-glut companies that are out there, I don't think it's fair anymore to say that, like they used to say about Hebrew National, that it's no good. I don't think that's a fair, bold statement. I think that we have to come to recognize at this point is, for those who are eating glut, they no longer check into the other stuff to know what they're doing. So we don't even know what the standards are anymore to say yes or no. I don't think it's fair for anybody to condemn the other person. Again, I'll pick on Triangle K. They're the only company I know who's doing non-glut at this point. So, or the only hashgach, I should say. So I don't think it's fair to impugn the reputation of Rabbi Ralbag just because I don't know what he's doing or his mashgichim are doing or what his standards are. I don't think it's justified. But mostly because I'm no longer looking into those things. In the days that I was eating non-glut, so then you have to check in to see what's going on. You have to be part of the business. You have to say, is it politics, is this, is that, halacha, what exactly is happening? And so, people don't do that today. Now, if it's not glut, we don't buy it. And that's why you're seeing proliferation of glut and less and less and less of the non-glut, that's all. Whatever the market will bear is what's going to happen. And when the market decides that it wants to go back to non-glut because non-glut will be cheaper, so then you'll see people start to do investigations again, and we'll start the whole process again. But what I'm saying, but that's not here. Here it's a matter of these people decided, for whatever reasons, I mean there's historical reasons, but for whatever reason, they decide they want to be at a different level. They wanted to maintain a level being tahor, even in Cholin. So all those situations. So somebody who didn't accept that was assumed to always to be Tameh.
This is after destruction of the temple, the second temple? He's talking about or before?
It could be before already. Chaver could have been before.
Afterwards, we don't have those statuses per se anymore.
Yeah, but still, it's like saying
Except for Kohanim.
No.
Sort of.
Again.
Yeah.
Being tahor and eating is different than what we're talking about. It's a totally different level. I don't know if
because a guy was exposed to something, and I mean, like something foul, like we're talking about.
Like I said, it was a totally different level. You had to join the group.
Yeah.
You had to be a card carrying member of these chaverim. So it was, and people knew you. So that's why I say when it says knei lecha chaver in the Mishnah, while everybody just translates, acquire for yourself a friend, a mentor, and so on and so forth. Well, actually, a friend, not a mentor. That's Rebbe. So it doesn't just mean a friend; it means go up to that level.
Would say that's somebody that would be extremely careful in shomer mitzvahs, just like everything is extremely.
No, that's not a chaver.
No,
that's again. A chaver would be somebody who is very specifically who's careful about the food they're eating. They have to be in the state of tahara, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So and what is the transferring agent for tuma? Liquids. That's why they have to worry about the olive pressings. In other words, if I am tameh and I have this liquid there, so that's going to transfer, and now I'm trying to, and I want to eat my food in the state of, well, it's tahor.
If you become involved in the pressing or bottling of it,
and I am tameh, so that food becomes tameh, and then the guy who's a chaver can't eat it. Okay, so yeah, okay. Before Slam. So so we go like this. So Gemara answers, and it says, "But taharot ekelu." In this case, the rabbi showed leniency in order to protect the purity of the taharot. Okay, and so they therefore did not require the God to observe the normal dictates of modesty. In other words, normally we would say you shouldn't go behind the wall so that people are going to hear you or see you, or whatever the case is going to be. But in this case, because of they had to protect the taharot, so they allowed it to happen. So the Gemara now attempts to disprove the second argument of Isi's ruling from the latter part of the Mishnah. Tashema, come and hear a proof. Kama yirchaku v'yu taharin. How far may those who guard the olives distance themselves, and the olives remain uncontaminated? So, the Gemara answers, Kedei Shiei Ro'ehu. They must remain close enough to see one who attempts to enter the pressing house. Now, it is inevitable that in the course of guarding the olives, one of the guards will need to defecate. Perforce, he must remain close enough to see a person entering, even though he himself will be exposed to view. Evidently, we permit one to relieve himself, even though it can be seen, but this contradicts the opinion of Ishi Bar Nasan. So, what are you going to ask?
I was going to ask, how far can a guard relieve himself away from the job? And I was saying not that far because he has to guard it. That's his job.
Okay, there you go. So that's the question. So the Gemara answers, and it says, Shani is different. Those who eat taharot are different, for the rabbi showed them leniency in order to enable them to protect their taharot to observe the normal dictates of modesty. Okay, so we're coming down to the same thing, right? In order to allow them to for people to eat. We have to protect them, which is why we're going to push the levels, the basic levels of modesty, away. But normally, again, we would not use this as would not use this as a proof to say that I could do it close to people. We want to really have that privacy.
And if you're regarding like money, you wouldn't, because for this case, it's for people going to be eating or ingesting the olive oil, wine pressing,
Right.
olive pressing,
Olive pressing.
olive oil. So
Right.
you're going to be ingesting that, so you have to be careful for the tummy and stuff. But when it's not liquids or not foods, you don't have to be careful. So probably
Whoa. So now you're saying about money? Money is
Or
even
something-
worse.
right, but something that's not that would, if it becomes tame or it becomes like the guard, he has to be able to see the stuff. So he'll have to be in view of someone who comes in. If he can see him, the other guy can see him, and he can see him defecating.
Right.
So
He doesn't have, by the way, he doesn't necessarily have to see him defecate. In other words, the wall can come up, whatever.
Right, yeah.
He doesn't see the actual act. He can, but
Right.
the other, he can see the guy sitting down and doing what he's doing.
Right. But then there's in another case of guarding, there would be, would that extend to other cases of guarding? If you're
I would
guarding-
suggest yes, because if you've appointed me to guard your money, I'm the bank or whatever the case is going to be.
Right.
Okay, so now I'm responsible for that money, so I become the shomer. So as a shomer, I have a responsibility, and I'm probably a paid shomer on top of everything else.
Right.
So I have a greater responsibility. So at that point, the rabbis would probably say the same way they said here, we're going to be lenient so that the guys can eat. There, if the money gets stolen, I'm on the hook for it. So what are the odds I'm going to walk away and leave the store?
Right.
Whatever gets stolen, I'm on the hook for. So I don't want to do that. So the rabbis are also going to say to me, probably, that you don't have to go that far away because you still want to give mirtas, the fear of the person seeing you, which is all you really need. I just need to do it. So you could also argue, by the way, let's say I had cameras in the store. If I had cameras constantly going and an alarm, let's say you could rig the camera up so the minute somebody shoplifts, it locks the doors. So then I could go to the bathroom in peace. But
Or
in,
have more than one guard.
huh?
Or have more than one guard.
Or more than one guard.
Right.
But I'm saying, let's say you don't have more than one guard. So what happens is you have a real system set up. So at the minute somebody does something, bang, everything locks down. Okay, so you go to the bathroom, enjoy it. You take your time. But otherwise, you're on the hook. Okay. Yeah, so Rav Ashi Amar, he said, my kol zaman she'en chavero eved tekama isi bar natan. What is meant by isi bar natan's statement of so long as his friend cannot see him, kol zaman she'en chavero roe et peruo. It means so as long as his friend cannot see his exposed flesh. Of all to today, both regard to seeing him, his friend may certainly see him. Thus, even according to Isi bar Nathan, one is permitted to defecate within view of others, so long as his exposed flesh is not visible. One is therefore able to satisfy the demands of modesty, while still performing as a guard of taharot. So he explains, with respect to halakha, we ruled in accordance with the Ula in the case of one defecating behind a wall in close proximity to others, since Ula's mastery of the Talmud is greater than that of Isi bar Nathan's. In the case of one defecating in an open area, however, we rule in accordance with Isi bar Nathan, since Rav Ashi, who has a later Amora is authoritative, follows Isi's ruling in this case. Thus, one defecating in an open area must move far away that none will see his exposed flesh, while one behind a wall need not distance himself at all, even if his companion can hear him pass wind. Okay, so that basically is what you're going to come down to in the halacha, that if I'm guarding, again, it's only in the case of I'm guarding. So then I could, you can see me, or if you can't see me, I can be behind the wall. You can, as long as you know I'm there, that's also going to scare you. Not to see, because I could come out any time. So, and that would, by the way, be a good guarding. Okay. So now the Gemara relates an incident around 62a4. The Gemara relates an incident that occurred with Rav Nachman. And he says like this: there was a certain eulogizer who stopped before Rav Nachman. Amar, he said regarding a particular individual, this one was modest in his ways. Rav Nachman said to him, did you then go to him to the latrine that you know whether or not he was modest? If you did not, you cannot say this of him. The Tanya has been taught in the Braita. Ein koren tznua ela mi shentsua b'beilak say. We do not refer to a person as modest unless he is one who behaves modestly in the latrine. So, yeah.
How do you refer someone who's modest with his money and modest with his other stuff?
I'm sorry, modest what?
Modest with your money or modest with your just when someone in this case in the eulogy is calling the person like he was honorable, he was modest. In that case, modest, you can only call someone modest if they were modest in the latrine, in the restroom. So how would you say someone's modest not in the restroom? Could you say they're modest or they're just humble?
Humble. You would say they're humble, not modest. Yeah. So and that's what does everybody? You would have to ask these two questions. You should ask. One, does everybody agree with Rav Nachman's reading of the Brisa? That would be the first question. In other words, when we say a person is tzniut today, or if I say a person is tzniut, a modest person, I can guarantee you we don't mean that the person is how they treat in the bathroom, because we really don't watch how people are in the bathroom. When we say tzniut today, we're talking about how they dress, how they walk, right, how they talk, and so on and so forth. So our definitions have changed. So now the question would be, since our definitions have changed, does everybody agree with Rav Nachman's reading of the Braita, which said that you can't call anybody tzniut except if you know how they act in the basic the bathroom? So is that how everybody did, or did the eulogizer do it like we would say it, based upon dress, speech, way to walk, and so on and so forth? Yeah.
What is a eulogizer?
Person gives eulogy. In other words, they would give.
So they would go to funerals and give eulogies.
Yeah. Yeah, they're professionals. Like rabbis today. The rabbi who buried your grandmother did not know your grandmother. What happens is that he comes, your mother and grandfather went to the rabbi. The rabbi asked some questions which are basically cookie cutter questions, because what are you supposed to do? You don't know the person. And so then what you do is you develop that into eulogy. If you do a good job with that, by the way, in the old days, more now, if you do a good job with that, then you get paid well, and you get hired for other jobs. If you do not do well, then you don't get hired. I mean, you may be a one-time eulogizer. So these people would be professional eulogy people. Yarmulke will travel sort of a guy. And so people, so he heard this person eulogizing a person and said he was tzniut in his ways. Well, how can you say it? So, and by the way, I don't think he said it during the eulogy. Yeah. I don't think he said, hey, excuse me, I have a shaila on you. How do you know the right to say it? I don't think he did that. Okay. So I think he waited till after and said, nu tzaddik. You're saying you can't lie about people. How do you know? Did you see him go to the bathroom? What's going on here? Which is, again, an interesting question. So the Gemara wonders at Rav Nachman's challenge to the eulogizer. Rav Nachman, my nafka lemina. And for Rav Nachman, what difference was it whether the eulogizer said was correct with what he said? Not. He's dead. What does it matter? When you listen to a eulogy, by the way, 9 times out of 10, if you knew the person, 9 times out of 10, you're thinking, who are they talking about? Because the job of the eulogizer, the person giving the eulogy, is not to speak in a negative manner about the person. Is to make them shine. Once in a while, the person just happens I know that when I gave eulogy for many people I didn't know. They were in part, they were old, whatever. I never met them. So one person, I remember one person died, and I think I talked to her on the telephone once in her life. But after that, no. I knew her son, and I knew the grandchildren. And so the son came in, and he told me some stuff. Fine. Other people gave me some other information. So you have to be a real investigator when you're doing a eulogy, by the way, if you don't know the people. And so what happened was I gave the eulogy, and one of the reverends came up to me and said to me, I know you didn't know her, because he knew I didn't know her. He said, I know you didn't know her, but you captured her life beautifully. So again, that's really what you want. The ultimate thing is to capture their lives. You don't want to be saying, you don't want the audience to think, who? Are you kidding? That you don't want. You want it to be, light, because you need to give some people, they're already crying enough. You really want them to get a little levity from that. At the same time, it has to be somber. It really is a real mixture. It's a tremendous talent to write a good eulogy. It's not a talent to write a eulogy. To write a good eulogy is a good talent. And again, if you can do a good job, you would be hired for more. So you have these cookie cutter questions, you do your investigations, and you go. So the question is, okay, so what's Rev Nachman's problem? To say tzniut, what's the problem? So the Gemara answers, Mishum detani, because it was taught in the Brighton. Kashem shenifraim and ameitim, kach nifraim and savdanim, minaonim achareim. Just as they exact retribution from the dead as a result of false praise that is spoken to them, so too did they exact it from the eulogizers who speak the false praise, and from those people, those who answer Amen after their words. It was therefore incumbent upon Rav Nachman to protest this possibly false statement. And he explains, although when eulogizing another is obligated to exaggerate slightly in describing the good qualities of the deceased, one is forbidden to attribute to him qualities that he did not at all possess. And one who does so brings harm upon the deceased by causing his sins to be recalled in heaven. For the discrepancy between the praise and a person's actual qualities causes his deeds to be more closely examined. The eulogizer also brings harm upon himself. This is in consequence of false praise. Retribution is exacted both from the dead and from those who caused him to be punished. And for and then it's and that's it. Okay, and that's what we'll have to stop.